Yo, it's been forever since I seen my forehead. CC Less Than 3, welcome back to my channel. So for today, I figured, I guess, tell you some things that you may or may not know about Korea. Some things that people don't really tell you about. Like, these are things I didn't know before I came here, and I did a lot of research by watching YouTube videos, Googling, and stuff like that. So yeah, here we go. Number one, taxis will overcharge you sometimes, especially at night during like on the weekends in like clubby districts like in Gangnam, Hongdae, Itaewon. If you go up to a taxi driver and tell him where you want to go and he just gives you a flat out fare, then that's illegal. He's not running the meter, he's trying to overcharge you, and it's really common, and it's not just something that happens to foreigners, it happens to Koreans too, especially in Itaewon. So your best bet is going to be to call a taxi with Kakao Taxi, but that can be difficult if you don't have a number or if you don't read enough Korean to understand. And also they'll call you to say, you know, ask where you are, and if you can't communicate with them, then that's a problem. So for example, and this just happened to us on Christmas Eve, we were in Itaewon clubbing, so we're trying to call a taxi, but he wanted us to meet way up the street in front of Maid, and we were down not close to Maid. We were trying to run up the street to find him, and he ended up canceling because I guess he got a better offer. I don't know. We found another taxi, and my friend's feet were hurting really bad, so we just went, and I just told him Naksongdae, and he said, ishipman. So $20, which normally that would have cost like 12, but they're like, I don't care, my feet hurt, I'm fine, let's go. So you'll get, you know, as random as like 45,000 won, 25,000 won, 30,000 won on a fare that should only cost like 10,000 won. That's something you should look out for. And they even have numbers in the car inside the taxi that says, for fare disputes, call this number, because it's illegal for them to do that. Number two, people don't really talk about this, but fixed doors. Fixed doors are everywhere in Korea. Basically, whenever there's doors that swing in and out, one of them will never move. It'll always be locked, and that's a fixed door. So if you see, I think it's Gojangmun, don't push or pull because it's not going anywhere. I don't understand the reason for this. It might be a fire safety hazard type of thing. The way I see it, you know, if people can't get out in a hurry, that kind of makes it more dangerous. I don't know. If you guys know why fixed doors are a thing, let me know in the comments, because I really don't get it. Okay, number three, in Seoul you get random wafts of just sewage. And I know that's not like unique to Seoul. It happens in many major cities. Like, I've spent a lot of time in New York City, and I know that's definitely a problem in New York City. But I feel like it's not something people talk about or complain about like they should, because it's so bad. It hits you like that fog hit Katniss in the Hunger Games. It hits you like Katniss slapped Haymitch. It hits you like Katniss hit that bar when they were running away in Mockingjay Part 2. Sorry, I just watched Hunger Games, like all of them, last night. But yeah, like, you could just be minding your business, just walking around, laughing with your friends, trying out some new food, ice cream, going clubbing, looking for somewhere to go, and then you just get smacked in the face with this smell. It's so bad. And I feel like people don't acknowledge it. Like, I'm like, oh god, and I'm looking around and people are just living their life. I'm like, am I the only one who smells that? It's not good. Okay, number four, manners in Korea are like reversed from what they are in the States. So you know how if you're out eating in a public restaurant in the States, it's polite to eat quietly and to not smack your food, to be as quiet as possible while you're eating in public. In Korea, when you eat loudly and smack and slurp, it means you're enjoying the food, and it's not rude at all. It's kind of just the norm. It's what you do when you eat. In America, people will be like, yo, shut the fuck. Also, one of the things that's really different in the way of manners from here versus in the States. You know how in the States, if you're walking really close to somebody, or if you bump into someone, or if you push them, then, you know, you say, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, or my bad. Like, that's just how it is. And if you don't, people are like, yo, you're rude. Like, but in Korea, people push you, they elbow you, they hit you, they shove you, and that's just, it's not considered rude. I don't know if it's considered rude or if they just don't care, but they do it and they don't apologize. So I don't know if that's the norm. People push you, people shove you. And what gets me is, especially with like older people, like ajumas, they'll push you, elbow the crap out of you, and then look you in the eye after they do it like it was personal. It's like, what did I do to you? I don't understand. And don't get me wrong, some people do apologize. Like, I've been in situations where, especially with younger people, where they push you and, oh, excuse me, or mianeo, like they'll say sorry or excuse me, but it's pretty rare for that to happen. Okay, number 5, people don't talk about this, but spring and fall are way too short in Korea. Oh my god. Summers in Korea are hot and humid and miserable. Winters in Korea are cold, bitter, and severe. And you have that perfect little window in the fall and the spring that only lasts like 5 or 6 weeks each. I personally, I don't really care much for the spring because I have really bad allergies and it's just not a good time for me. I love the fall. I come alive in the fall time. I love October. The weather here in October is perfect. If I had to recommend a time to come and visit Korea, it would definitely be in October. They have dozens of festivals going on. You can be outside. There are a lot of holidays. You might be able to come here during Chuseok. Streets of Seoul tend to be a bit more empty that time of year because people go home to their families and they're there. I love the fall, but it's so short here. Number 6, and this one's a good thing. Koreans do not steal. Like, I'm sure some do somewhere, sometimes, but in my experience and with my friends, there's like such a strong honor system here that just prevents any sort of thievery. I don't know what it is. I don't know how my friends always do this, but when we're clubbing or on a public transport somewhere and something goes missing, whether it's an ID card, a bank card, a wallet, a purse, we always end up finding it. Like, people actually turn stuff into lost and found here. If you lose something, you will likely find it, which is amazing to me. And like, even with my students, last week we had like market day, so I have like all these chips and like novelty toy items like sprawled out in the classroom, and my English classroom doesn't lock from the outside, so if they want to come in, they can come in, and I know I don't have to worry about them taking stuff because they just don't. Even when we're playing games and I might accidentally give one team too many points, the team who I gave the extra points to, they'll say, teacher, no, and they'll tell me that I made a mistake. Or if I give out too much candy, they'll say, oh, teacher, no, only one. And I'll be like, wow, okay. Like, there's such a strong honor system here, and it's amazing. For example, again, we were clubbing on Christmas Eve in Itaewon, and I don't know why she had this, but some woman had like a designer bag with $5,000 in it, and she lost it. Now, if this was America, then that would have been a come up for somebody. They would have gotten a new bag and $5,000. You know, she's searching around the club at night, she has her phone flashlight out, and they actually found it. She actually found her bag. That's amazing to me. And nothing was missing. She found all her money. That's one thing I really do love about Korea. People are, for the most part, more honest here, I think, when it comes to like possession and ownership of items and money and stuff. Okay, number 7. This one's a little, I don't know, it's a little different. Try to watch like random YouTube videos. There's like online censorships randomly prevented me from watching some videos. Like, you have to be 19 or older, you have to put a Korean phone number in. And even when I've done that, I've gotten Korean phone numbers, I've tried to log in and it still doesn't work. Like, for example, I was trying to watch, do you guys know the show Lip Sync Battle? It was the episode with Zendaya and the adorable Tom Holland, and he did Singing in the Rain / Umbrella by Rihanna. For some reason, that video is blocked in Korea and I couldn't watch it. I don't know what it's about. Like, online stuff is super efficient here. Like, delivery for many things is like next day without having to pay an extra fee. If you don't have a Korean phone number, you can't set up online banking. And if you can't set up online banking, it's hard to use your Korean card on Korean websites. That's a problem I've had a lot with. You get like your bank card, you get like your checkbook, and you get like this little card with a bunch of numbers on it. And you have to like, when you confirm like a purchase, you have to like type in like the last 2 of these numbers or the first 2 of these numbers. I still don't understand it. I've never been able to use it online successfully in Korea. Online banking is something I can't grasp. Like, you need a Korean phone number. If you want to come here and live, you know, as convenient of a life as possible, you absolutely have to get a Korean phone number. For me, I'd have to buy a new phone because this phone is from the States. The SIM card doesn't fit. I can't get it unlocked. And like I said, I've been here 6 months, and I extended another 6 months, then another 6 months. So I didn't expect to be here 2 years later, still in Korea. So I never saw that as like a wise investment to get a whole new phone and worry about SIM cards and stuff. So I never did it. Okay, number 8. This is a serious one that I really feel like people here aren't talking about. Perverts like to put cameras in the public bathrooms and they post them online. Like, this is a really real problem that nobody's talking about. I personally don't use the bathroom in public. I've mentioned this before. It's like, it's a problem that nobody talks about. It's so easy and so cheap to get these tiny little cameras. They can look like pens. They can look like tiny little erasers. Like, it's so easy and convenient to get these tiny little cameras and hide them in the stalls, and people do it. Like, it's gotten to the point where taking the subway, I've seen crews of like female police officers going into the bathrooms and like scanning them to see if they can find cameras and stuff. This is like a real thing that's happening. Personally, I don't use public bathrooms, especially not in subways. If you're in Hot River, like at those like outdoor public bathrooms, because it's so easy for guys to slip in and out and put cameras in there. Or maybe a female conspirator could just go in, put a camera in, and come out. I don't know how they do it, but it's a problem that nobody's really talking about. Nobody explains this, that, you know, you should be more careful if you're, you know, trying to use bathrooms in public, because there's cameras in there. Okay, number 9, that was 8. Number 9. This one surprised me, but a lot of Korean people don't understand how Korean ages work either. I could understand the logic of, you know, being 9 months older when you're born, even though I imagine your exact date of conception would be a bit more tricky to pinpoint. So I could understand saying you're approximately 9 months when you're born, but you're 1 and sometimes 2 years old when you're born. I don't understand that. And so far, every Korean that I've asked, they're like, I don't know either. It's just the way it is. I don't know. I've never gotten like an explanation that actually makes sense. A lot of Korean people also find it confusing and unnecessary, and they don't understand it. They just know it's part of the culture, so they just kind of accept it. Again, if you guys know what this is, please tell me in the comments, because I've never understood Korean age. Like, my international age is 25, my Korean age is 26. On New Year's Day, I'll be 27 Korean, even though I'll still only be 25 in real life. If, for those of you who don't know, in Korea, you're 1 to 2 years older than your actual age, and everyone ages together on New Year's. So everyone becomes 1 year older on New Year's. And if you have like a later birthday, then you're like 2 years older. It's really tricky. Like I said, I don't understand it. Korean people I've asked don't understand it. So help me. Okay, number 10. Korea is a very English-friendly country. If you want to come here and you're stressed about not knowing the language, not able to read Hangul, you don't really have to worry about that too much, because especially compared to Japan, Korea is very English-friendly. Like, even in the most rural of settings, you'll see Korean up top and then English underneath on street signs. You find a lot of words that are in English but Koreanized, so they're like loaner words, I guess, so they're the same in Korean and in English. So sometimes even if you say it slowly in English, they may be able to understand what you're trying to say because it's the same in Korean. There's a lot of words that are like that. So if you want to come here and you don't understand Hangul or can't read Korean, you really don't have much to worry about. Everything's in English as well. A lot of the times you'll be surprised when you're trying to like struggle through your Korean and you're trying to ask a Korean for help. They'll kind of watch you struggle for a minute and then they'll just speak to you in English, and you're just like, you couldn't have started off with that you know English. That's happened to me a few times. Yeah, like, you don't really have to worry much about the language thing here. Here's a little bonus one. I don't know if this really counts, so I'll just make this a bonus and not count it as the part of the 1 through 10. Koreans have a very unique ability to ghost. Meaning, like, for those of you who don't know, ghosting is, you know, when you're having like relatively frequent communication and meeting or whatever, and then suddenly nothing. It's like they've gone ghost.
I'm going to become ghostly!
They disappear, they stop talking, they start leaving you on red. And I don't even mean Korean guys, I mean Korean girls too. I get excited when I meet Korean girls, like while I'm clubbing or in a cafe or shopping or whatever. And they're really friendly. Like, they're usually like, oh, like, where are you from? And, oh, I've been there before. And then they're like, we should hang out, we should go to this cafe, we should see this movie, we should go to this festival. And then I'm like, so, we still going to that festival? Nothing. I get ghosted. Like, that's just a term that I've become so familiar with in Korea. Literally I've said this many times in my videos, but all of my friends are foreigners. I haven't been able to maintain stable communication with a single Korean person here. I thought when I got here I would meet so many Korean people. I thought they would help me, you know, learn about the culture, show me all these cool places. I've gotten most of my information about these places from foreign people, teachers, students who've been here for like years and years. And it's not just me. Like, I honestly, like, especially when I lived in Jeju, I kind of blamed it on the distance. I'm like, okay, I can understand why nobody wants to be my friend. I'm way down in Jeju. It's hard to meet up. I totally understand. But But now I'm here and I'm significantly closer to Seoul, and I'm on the mainland and I'm around other major cities. I still can't seem to find this stable communication with Korean people, and my friends experience this as well. Like, I'm not trying to put too many people's stories into this, but like one of my friends, she had this guy that she's been talking to for about a month. You know, they hung out all the time, they went on dates, they spent a lot of time together, and literally one day he just stopped replying. They had the most normal conversation, like, oh, you know, have a good day at work, and then suddenly nothing.
He's a phantom.
This level of ghosting in Korea is next level. I know in the States you get people, guys and girls, who suddenly just cut you off and you don't know why. But they're usually hints that something's going wrong, you know? Like, you could have said something that upset them, or they could have said something that upset you, or you guys, your personalities just don't mesh, and you kind of get that sense. But here, everything seems totally fine one minute and the next is just nothing. They just ghost. Like, it amazes me. Meeting and making stable friendship with Korean people is quite difficult, and I understand, you know, there's a lot of expectations from work. Life as a student here is hellish and nightmarish, and there's so much pressure, so you know, we're lenient about that. We're understanding. Don't make yourself seem available when you're not, and then suddenly cancel or suddenly stop replying, because that's just the worst. But it happens so often here. Like, part of the reason I wanted to come to Korea was to like reach outside of my comfort zone and branch out and make friends and just be more social. And I do think coming to Korea has made me less timid, because I'm more proactive and I tend to try and initiate more hangouts and gatherings. I'm always the one that's like, what are you doing this weekend? We should go to this festival. What are you doing in 2 weeks? I'm always the one that's doing that. And there's always this such initial excitement and interest. It's like, yeah, that sounds great, I wanted to see this. Or yeah, that sounds great, I wanted to go there. And then as the date approaches, less and less and less communication until there's just nothing left. Or just there's that abrupt sudden cut. Cut it. I don't understand. Like I said, I don't know if this really counts as far as the things they don't tell you about Korea, but something that I've noticed through my personal experiences and my friends' stories, Koreans have this Super Saiyan ability to just cut people off and to ghost. So I think from now on, I'm gonna stop trying to initiate these hangouts, because if you really want to hang out with me, then you'll just ask. Simple as that. So yeah, I think this video is gonna be a little bit shorter than I expected. There will definitely be more to this video, like more parts in the future. But for now, I think that's kind of all that comes to mind. So yeah, thanks for watching if you did. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe for weekly videos, because I do put them out once a week. Yeah, I'll see you next week. Annyeong.